First of all, how do you rationalize the death of Renee and Alex? It's so incredibly tragic. With those deaths, though, comes something that's been bizarre and maybe long term in a positive way for the whole of the nation. Not to say that anybody's deaths are worth that, but it seems like there's a rift in MAGA or an infection that I've noticed, almost a sepsis that's starting to creep in. You know, MAGA is inherently nationalistic, so you're talking about Trump starting wars, you know, around the world. And yeah, I put that in air quotes. I don't know if anybody's watching, it's audio only, but yeah, starting wars around the country, that's been hurtful. But there's some other things going on with the economy, with tariffs, right? Things of that nature. But also, again, the Epstein files still haven't been released. And those three things, Epstein files, economy, healthcare, I'll put that in one, and starting wars, those are three things that are completely anti-MAGA. But there's this thing with ICE where the administration has blinked with Bovino being sent back home. You got Tom Homan coming in. Now, don't get me wrong. Bringing Tom Homan to help Bovino is like using gonorrhea to cure syphilis, right? But I think that, you know, that's what's going on in America. But again, it's still I would say, some kind of indicator that MAGA is hurting. And now with the Second Amendment stuff, you saw Trump coming out against guns, ludicrous. It seems like Trump doesn't know where he's at, doesn't know what he's doing. And now you see this sort of collapse happening. And I think it started with Minnesota. Actually, it probably started a little bit beforehand, let's be honest, with all the ICE raids. And there's been a lot more than 2 killed. But I do believe what you're seeing right now is almost a dissembling. And I've never been this optimistic in the last 7 years. I want to let you know this, my friend. There's been a dissembling of MAGA. And I think we are now seeing where the midterms could really determine where America is going and maybe start trying to rebuild the trust in 2026, the end of this year, with our allies.
And where do you think the Trump administration goes from here? I mean, they do appear to be at a crisis point now over international and national policy. You are a former Republican congressman. You I believe, were in the administration in some capacity, the first Trump administration. What do you think they are going to be thinking, and what do you think lies in the future of the MAGA movement and the Trump administration?
Trump administration needs a couple things. They need to do a couple things that they don't know how to do. And that's to get out of this death spiral, literally with ICE, but also with their foreign policy mistakes. The thing is, Trump is such an egomaniac and narcissist that the people around him have to follow his lead. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think the next step is, in the next week or so, all the sword rattling for bombing Iran is going to happen. That they have to have something else, even though it's against what he went, campaigned against with not starting foreign wars. Iran's back on the table. And why is Iran back on the table also? Because of the failure of really taking out the nuclear facilities, which was a joke. That's why I think Greenland is back in play here soon, right? It's always a horseshoe with this guy. He's going to fold. He gets embarrassed. He does something dumber. You have to almost try to predict with Trump that way. As far as ICE is concerned, they have to de-escalate. If they don't de-escalate, I also think you're seeing independence. I have never seen anything like this. When you start getting independence between 70 and 80% against Trump, that's insane. Lastly, only 12 states have positive favorability ratings for Trump now of the 50 states. This is something I never thought I would see. So I think right now they really can only keep participating in activities that are damaging to try to keep America's attention off of what's really happening on the ground.
And we've discussed there what all of the recent events mean for the MAGA movement. Where do you see the direction of the US more widely, and how would you judge the situation your nation finds itself in today? I mean, you've been in important places through several inflection points in US history.
Unfortunate, or unfortunate, depending on the place.
You were serving at the time 9/11 happened, I believe.
Sure was.
As I say, you were in the first Trump administration. You were on the January 6th committee,
yes.
and you also did some work with Democrats as well.
Yes.
Pretty big events you've covered, in just since the turn of the century. How severe is the situation now compared to those other events?
People try to. Thanks for the easy questions. I really appreciate it, Lee. I think what you're looking at right now, and I have to think through this because there's a specific word I want to use, but I want to get to it. I want to use the word dire. Everybody wants to go back and say, well, it's always been like this in history. No, we've never had a president like this. Not this insane, not based on this type of QAnon, white nationalist, sort of fascist, authoritarian leading stuff. It's hard to get your head around because he says this stuff out loud. It's not like we're guessing. So I think we're in a very dire place when it comes to the United States. And the only way to get out of that is to completely and politically and diabolically quash the MAGA movement. There's no way around it. I don't know if the Democrats and independents have the stones for it. That's what worries me too. There hasn't really been any proof that they got the, intestinal fortitude to do what they got to do. Do you think the Democrats win the majority in 26 are going to investigate Trump? Half-assed maybe. If they impeach in the House, they're going to get a conviction in the Senate? No, because there's not enough Republicans with actual courage. The Republicans have to step up. And seeing Ted Cruz say that they might impeach Trump, insane. Seeing Tom Tillis coming out against, Kristi Noem, seeing Murkowski coming out against Noem. Looking at Don Bacon, the congressman, the former Air Force one-star general, really rocking and rolling now as a Republican. That's what has to happen. But I'm telling you right now, I think 2026 is not only going to be one of the swing moment in history for the United States, but it's also going to be a violent one. And again, that's the fear too. Are we willing to prosecute? Are we willing to investigate the people who've done these things? I don't know, bud. I think it's got to be an all in. There's no more half-stepping. And I don't know if those on the other side of the MAGA fence have the intestinal fortitude to do what needs to be done.
And if the Democrats, you don't believe, form a real opposition at the moment, and if you're not sure that Republicans can oppose Donald Trump, who is there left to try and curb what may well be a significant overreach by this administration?
A new breed. Somebody, a party or people in the Democratic Republican Party who come together in a way that makes sense. The Republican Party is dead as any type of traditional Republican Party. The Democratic Party still likes to go a little bit, nutty on the other side because we are a bit of a center-right country. And they do concentrate on issues that are easy to actually propagandize and radicalize based on the Christian movements and the MAGA side. All this is happening. But boy, wouldn't it be something if this is the time for a third party or third way? And he goes, Denver, no, America's not built like this, but it has to happen. Even me, and I know, listen, I don't know how intimate we want to get with this interview, but knowing you, the people that we've been here, I never wanted to run for office again. I've changed my mind. And I think being here in Greenland, what I did in Ukraine, what I've seen in America, what I've seen with my business interests, what I've seen with my own wife and our distilleries and the tariff issues and the supply chain issues caused arbitrarily by bad decisions from a president and a Congress that's completely unwilling to do their job, just really almost like the Duma, right? I mean, that's what's happening. I think people like me, the people that are on this trip, I think they have to even get more involved. They think they're involved, you got to do more. We got to lean forward further. There's an old military saying, there's a fine line between leaning forward and bending over, right? But I think it is time for us to lean forward and do as much as we can. And I think, on this trip, I've decided I am going to run again. I have an idea what I think I'm going to do, but there has to be people who run, whether it's for one party or another. I can't run as a Republican. It would have to be as a blue dog Democrat or as an independent. But I got to get involved again because I'm 55 and I almost feel like a coward if I don't. And am I? No. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why isn't everybody else running? But the thing is, I've been there, done that. I got the card. I sort of know how to do it, regardless of the shortened career because of QAnon and COVID. But I think it's time for people like me and those here and people around the country to get involved. And that's the only way we save it.
Yeah, you've been across Nuuk in the last few days, for the last week essentially. You've spoken to a lot of locals. I'm going to include some of that footage here, and we'll take a quick look.
And I feel like they're almost afraid to say rage, but it's been frustration, anger,
Yes.
disbelief,
Exactly.
insanity, crazy. I think that's what we've been hearing.
I said madness. I mean,
madness, right?
And when the power cut was last night, I mean,
Ah,
I
that's
was
what
just like I
You're
told,
smart. I was gonna
like I told Ola, I was like, the first thing was like, I'm not about
No,
to
that's
say
okay.
something bad, but damn, it happened. I called my friends, and we were all like, "Is this really the Americans? Not the American people, obviously.
No, it's
Trump,
okay.
I would prefer to say."
So that power outage, we were talking to some other individuals, and thank you for Orla, that they immediately talked about hotlines lighting up, people calling,
Yeah.
the Americans are coming.
Yeah, not the Americans,
or
the Trump, the Trump soldiers.
well,
I can think about it war in Greenland, so it's frightening. We don't have a war in this town.
I would be one of those that would, well, pick up my rifle and do something. And I know many people have been talking about it here in Greenland. You know, under the radar, just when you talk to one another, what would you do? Pick up a rifle.
It feels like psychological warfare on the people who live here. It's everything.
You asked an incredible question when we came in, like, what are you doing here, right? And that's great. And the reason we are here is we've also had trips to Ukraine. And I think part of it too is this is a veteran organization and called Save America. And what they wanted us to do was they were coming over here to actually do that, sort of that olive branch, and to talk to individuals about what's happening and to express our support for Greenland. But then, I'm here too for the same reason, is that how in the hell do you guys feel about this, I guess, is the question.
Back in the days, you can say.
Back in the day.
Yeah, everything was just so good. We had we worked together up here, and everybody was welcome. It didn't matter who you were, American, Danish, Greenlandic. We just worked together. That's not happening anymore. I'm sorry to say it, but it's not happening anymore. Whenever somebody talks about US dollars, Americans, just talking English in here or wherever you come around the city, you take a step back, because it's horrible.
This is a very small part of people.
Yes.
And if we go against American people, then we do exactly what Trump does to others.
So how do we regain the trust?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
When something like this happens, we need to figure out a way to trust the Americans again. If the Americans come here and we get occupied and all of that, all the things we have been fearing for the last year or so, if that happens, let's see what. I'm not sure I'm going to be allowed to be here. I'm going to be deported.
I hope for diplomacy and relations to work this out. But I must say that I would sleep way better in the night if they had a new president in the US. Just something else. Just something else than Donald Trump.
Trump could have come here with diplomacy and some ministers and whatever they're called, and just say, we have a request. Is it possible for us to expand in our current positions that we already, we have old bases here? Is it possible for us to put more soldiers here? If they had done that, they would have gotten it.
We are not for the sale. We are not for the sale, even me in our country, because it's very, very important for us that we have a relationship with Europe and Denmark, and it's very important for us that we have independence of Greenland, because we don't supporting for Trump's idea and he will take Greenland with the power. It's not right.